Hola y bienvenidos a Talentland Latam, a una sección más de Blockchain Land at Home. Muchas gracias por acompañarnos y recuerden que pueden seguirnos también a través de nuestras redes sociales, ya sea en Twitter o Facebook como Talent Republic. A mí me encuentran como José Pimpo y también que pueden seguir todas las noticias que tenemos a través de nuestro sitio Talent Republic TV y esta y todas las conferencias a través ya sea de nuestro canal de YouTube o en la sección de On Demand. Y ahora tengo conmigo a John Crain. John Crain es CEO de la plataforma de intercambio de NFTs o Non-Fungible Tokens de criptoarte llamada SuperRare. SuperRare es una de las plataformas líderes dentro de este mercado y que en este último año, con el crecimiento y sobre todo en las últimas semanas, se ha colocado como uno de los líderes en el mercado. Ahí han intercambiado algunas piezas e incluso roto unos récords de venta. Artistas que hemos tenido también anteriormente en Blockchain como Lucho Poletti y también Carlos Marcial, quienes precisamente en los días pasados rompieron el récord de ventas. Entonces, esta conversación va a ser en inglés, pero también dejaré algunos comentarios en español para que puedan ir siguiendo la conversación. Y ahora, pues, sin más, doy la bienvenida a John Crain de SuperRare. Bienvenido, John. Welcome. Thank you for being with us at Talentland Latam.
Hey, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Pues voy a empezar con la entrevista con John de qué es SuperRare y a qué es esto de lo que se dedica. Ya dije un poco brevemente de qué es, pero vamos a ver su versión. John, could you please just tell us what is SuperRare? I told people it's a platform where you can exchange crypto art, but what is SuperRare in your own words, and why did you start, or why is this company growing, and what is it about?
Sure. So SuperRare is a marketplace, but it's also a community and social network built around digital art. And the reason we built SuperRare is we felt that digital art really wasn't getting the proper attention that it deserved from the art world and the contemporary art market. And we felt there were a couple reasons. One being that digital art's kind of broad. It could be anything from a virtual reality sculpture to a piece of code that creates generative art. And you almost needed a new platform and a new technology set to facilitate this type of art community, art market, and just even a different way to experience the art itself. And so we really launched SuperRare to give a voice to kind of this new generation of art.
Ok, perfecto. Bueno, lo que comenta John es que más que una plataforma, que sí lo es, también es una comunidad y una plataforma, una red social para la gente que le gusta el arte digital. Y el objetivo de hacerlo es que el arte digital no estaba teniendo la atención adecuada como arte y por esto quisieron colocarlo dentro del arte contemporáneo y empezar a llamar la atención. Y pues bueno, algo que menciona es que también el arte digital puede ser muy amplio, ¿no? Porque puede traer nuevas tecnologías, integrarlo como realidad virtual y como diferentes tecnologías que hemos visto. Entonces, debido a esto, crearon esta nueva plataforma y tecnología para que se pudiera experimentar este nuevo arte y también darle una nueva luz luminaria hacia este tipo de arte. Well, thank you very much for that explanation, John. And if you can also tell us how it all started, how is it going? I mean, it's a completely new industry, but it's growing very, very fast, and it's growing a lot of interest. And as you said, there's a lot of scope of things that you can include besides just visual art.
Yeah, sure. So how it all started, well, basically I was pretty interested in, programmatic or generative art in college. So I got really interested in the programming language processing, which is kind of designed to help artists, create generative art. And so I just thought this was really fascinating. I had always grown up kind of drawing sketches and things like that. And so when I learned that I could also use code to, kind of like aid in the artistic process, I was just fascinated by this. You could draw 100 circles across the screen in a second, right? And so it was just kind of like a whole new dimension for me. So I was, so impressed with this. And at the same time, as I was kind of like going through my career, I fell down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, got pretty interested in cryptocurrency, and had the opportunity to kind of bring both of my passions together. So in 2017, towards the end of the year, I decided that I wanted to, build this product. I felt it was the right time. VR technology is getting a lot better. Displays are getting cheaper, projectors are getting cheaper, and so it really felt like it was the right moment in time to draw attention to what, in my opinion, was part of the art world that wasn't having the attention that it needed. And so I launched SuperRare with actually my brother and my cousin in April 2018. So we prototyped the first version of the platform. We launched it. It's built on top of the Ethereum blockchain, and then spent the last 2 years kind of educating people about digital art, talking about NFTs, or as they're called, non-fungible tokens, which is a specific type of token it's a token standard on Ethereum. And yeah, it was, reasonably steady growth to start. And then this year, there's kind of just been an explosion. And so I think that's, it's happened for a couple different reasons. I think one is, we've just kind of slowly been growing the community. And so now you have a lot more people talking about crypto art and NFT art, just word of mouth. Another reason is some of these virtual like VR worlds have started to become really popular. And now you have people building incredible VR exhibitions for this native, digitally native art. And so that's kind of helped spread the word. And then also, I think we're seeing, kind of a shift in sentiment in the cryptocurrency markets. And that's kind of also helping drive interest. People are exploring, new aspects of crypto. And so, yeah, it's a super exciting time to be in this space and be working on, tools that are really helping artists and creatives around the world, during times when a lot of things are shut down. I think that's one of the, coolest parts of crypto art right now is you have artists around the world who can, even though their galleries might be closed, they can still kind of participate in a digital art community, which is super powerful.
Sí, muy interesante esto que menciona John al final, y ahora lo vamos a retomar, que es ahora que las galerías a nivel mundial y que todas las exposiciones de arte están muy restringidas o cerradas, esto ha sido una válvula de escape para diferentes artistas para que puedan vender. Él menciona que comenzó con dibujo y pintura y algo de arte genérico hasta que llegó a la carrera, y ahí descubrió que el código, que la misma programación podía utilizarse para complementar arte y ser una herramienta poderosa, por lo cual lo sumó. Y en 2017 comienza el proyecto de SuperRare para crear una plataforma, sobre todo con el desarrollo de estos nuevos mundos virtuales, como los que hemos tenido aquí. Uno ha sido de Decentraland, en esta versión de Talentland vamos a tener a Sandbox, por ejemplo. Son algunos mundos virtuales que se han ido desarrollando, otros CryptoVoxels, por ejemplo. Y pues esto más el desarrollo y el crecimiento hicieron que en abril del 2018, junto con su hermano y su primo, lanzaran la plataforma SuperRare. Dice que fueron 2 años de educación, no solo respecto a la plataforma, sino también de la tecnología, y también pues, está construido sobre el blockchain de Ethereum y el tipo de tecnología que se estaba utilizando. Y pues realmente, como mencionamos, fue este año cuando hubo esta explosión en el mercado, este crecimiento, y él dice que han sido varios factores. Uno es este crecimiento sostenido de comunidad que han tenido estos últimos 2 años, y más gente que constantemente ya está hablando y comunicándose al respecto de criptoarte, NFTs, todas estas diferentes versiones que hay, y también que se ha vuelto más popular entre los artistas y los coleccionistas por esto mismo que se mencionó, que están las galerías cerradas por ahora. We were also talking before about something interesting that you said that I also find it very interesting. That is all the open source data, all the information that you can get that you could normally wouldn't be getting from a normal art gallery, or unless you're publicized in Christie's or Sotheby's, you normally don't get the sale price, or what is the actual market value, and also all this traceability about this different debates that have been doing that. What if I simply copy your art? No, so that is something that has involved and brought together blockchain technology, digital art, traceability, and well, your platforms to give also the space for it to have, and also what how you've been able, like you said, to trace how the market has been exploding in the last month. So if you could talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, really, it's one of the most powerful concepts in cryptocurrency, and especially in this world of digital art. And it's the fact that every, single NFT that's produced, every transaction that happens on the blockchain does get recorded in this global ledger that anyone can look at, is really a fundamental shift from kind of like closed source proprietary data sets that exist in our current art markets. And while maybe it's not super exciting to think about open source data, it's not the sexiest concept. I think it's actually really important and one of the most important components of this new market. And so I might do a quick screen share for just to show some of the viewers kind of what I'm talking about. So can you see the screen?
Yes.
All right. So just so people know, this is the first ever artwork that was created on SuperRare. And it happened, I believe it was April 2018. I think April 4th or possibly the 5th. But the nice thing is you don't actually have to take my word for it, right? What's really interesting about this type of art, and even, maybe I'll just tell you. So this was an artist, Robbie Barrett. He's a very creative pioneer. I think he was one of the first artists in the world to use GAN technology to create art like this. And so we partnered with him. He launched his piece of art on the website. So he took a risk with us, and we worked with a collector, Art Gnome. And so what's really interesting is you can hear the story from me, but you can also go back in the history of this piece of art and kind of audit every piece of data. So if we're going to go look at the actual blockchain transaction that was created 3 years ago. And so you can see here that, there's a lot of technical kind of things happening. But if you look, it tells you exactly how many blocks ago, this transaction happened. So that's 335 days, 21 hours ago. And it also says a lot of other things. But what's really interesting is you have basically really strong proof that this artwork was created, or this token was created at a certain day, and that it's this piece of artwork. And that's actually a big issue for traditional museums and galleries. For example, it's estimated that at the Tate Modern, which is like a very famous gallery in London, there's something like 10% of the art might be forgeries, just because it's so old, they don't actually know, if they don't know the provenance of that specific work. They think they do, but they're not totally sure. And so what's interesting here is even, 10 years from now, you're going to be able to look at all of these different transactions that took place for this artwork. So that's, a really exciting kind of advancement, and really is just like a fundamental shift in the way that data for art is managed, and it gives consumers a lot more confidence. And then another thing that I'm just going to note real quickly, since we are working in this kind of open space, we're building on top of Ethereum, which is, a public blockchain, one of the interesting things that we've been able to do is program in royalty payments for artists when art resells in the secondary market. So, even though ArtGnome was a really good friend of Robbie's, he sold this art, 2 years after he purchased it to a collector, a Japanese collector named Curious NFTs. And if we go look at that blockchain transaction, you can see that 10% of the sale actually went to Robbie. So in real time, we're able to pay artists royalty payments in the secondary market. And even if you think about, technology platforms like Spotify, you still have artists waiting up to 6 months to receive their royalty payments. And so I think we're really seeing kind of the power of sort of these open platforms and open technologies. And that's really part of what's led the growth in this ecosystem. And so maybe we could jump over to one of these public analytics dashboards. So that Dune Analytics is a company that aggregates data on public blockchains. And you can really see that, we had pretty slow, steady growth for the first 2 years of SuperRare. And, in this past year, we've seen most of the growth in just the past year alone. And so I think, again, what's kind of interesting here is you don't really have to take our word for it that, this is happening. Anyone can go look at this data. And that's just such a huge paradigm shift from kind of like how it works in our traditional art market that I think that's why we're seeing so much growth in the space. Is it's just such a better model for both, not only artists, but also collectors. And so I think we're going to continue to see growth in this area.
Awesome. Great growth that you had there. I'm going to translate quickly. Ahora, lo que menciona es algo muy interesante que hay en este mundo, que es la rastreabilidad y algo que pareciera que no es tan importante, pero pues que viene pegado con la tecnología de blockchain, que es las bases de datos abiertos, ¿no? ¿Y de qué sirve tener los datos abiertos? Pues todas estas gráficas que ahorita nos mostró y lo que puedes ver es cómo se están creando estos nuevos mercados y cuál es la importancia y los números que están teniendo, ¿no? Mostró una de las primeras obras de arte que tuvo listadas, que se fueron listadas en abril del 2018. Menciona que fue un artista con los que ellos habían ya colaborado, llamado Robbie Barrett, y donde él fue uno de los primeros artistas también en usar diferentes tecnologías como inteligencia artificial, y pues él se asoció inicialmente con SuperRare cuando empezaron la plataforma y apostó a hacer una obra de arte con ellos, ¿no? Originalmente se vendió en $176 hace ya más de 2 años, y algo que tiene genial esto es que igual que todas las transacciones de Bitcoin y todo lo que sucede en Ethereum, hay una completa rastreabilidad de toda la historia y puede ser auditado. No solo las obras de arte individuales, quién las ha comprado, en cuántos las ha comprado, cómo ha sido el mercado secundario, sino como también lo mostró los mismos datos de ventas de mercado primario y secundario de toda la plataforma. Entonces, como él dice, no tienen que tomarse su palabra para todo esto, sino simplemente él puede mostrar los datos en blockchain y lo pueden ver y lo pueden rastrear. Otra cosa genial que tiene, aparte de la rastreabilidad, es las regalías que se pagan inmediatamente. Menciona que, por ejemplo, si en 10 años se vuelve a vender esta pieza o en 5 años, en un mes, vuelve a recibir una regalía el artista original, que es algo que no sucede normalmente con el arte más clásico físico. Y otra cosa genial es que no tienen que esperar, como dice, hasta 6 meses, por ejemplo, en algunas plataformas como Spotify para recibir algunas de sus regalías, sino todas se pagan inmediatamente. Nos mostró por ahí un explorador de bloques de Ethereum donde se puede ver no solo que la pieza y se puede dar la rastreabilidad, sino también esta distribución de ingresos que ha sido inmediata, ¿no? Nos enseñó algunos de los crecimientos que han tenido la plataforma, donde muestra que los primeros 2 años fue un crecimiento lento y sostenido, y que la mayoría del crecimiento ha sido este último año, sobre todo en estos últimos meses, y donde igual, de la misma manera que como se puede ver, todo esto está guardado en un blockchain. Well, it's been very interesting, John, and it's also very interesting that it's a company that it's starting to take off, also an industry. So that also brings some happy problems. I mean, some are not so good because scalability, people getting into your homepage and clicking constantly and saturating your web page. But you also have some happy problems like bringing more artists, more inflow, more income, and also having more resources to develop your platform and your vision. So what are your plans in the future, and not only when SuperRare, but also what you see in this, I mean, so young and ever changing and growing industry?
Sure. So yeah, I think, a lot of what we're working on right now are some of these, scalability problems that you mentioned. We would, love to be able to work with every artist in the world, but we need to build a product that can support that at first. So a lot of the features we're building out right now are to kind of do that, to support higher volumes of art being created on the platform, and then also make it easier to kind of find and connect with artists. So kind of scaling solutions around search and discovery. We're launching some pretty cool new auctioning mechanisms really recently that'll be great. And we're also exploring, how do people interact with, this new type of art. Obviously it's really cool to have it on a screen and be able to show it off in your home. So that's, one area we're looking into. But at the same time, right, there's this whole new world of, digital creators and artists. And so we're thinking through, like, what are other ways that people can interact with their art, whether it's, using AR, expanding some of the VR technologies that we have, and really thinking through, what kind of UX makes sense for, communities to enjoy this type of art. So everyone can stay tuned for some exciting experiments as we continue to dive more into AR and VR as well.
Ok, digo, le pregunté algunos de los retos que tiene ahora que la plataforma y sobre todo el negocio está creciendo, y digo, sobre todo estos meses, cuando una plataforma crece así de rápido, bueno, hay algunos buenos y malos problemas, ¿no? Uno es la escalabilidad, que dice que por supuesto es uno de los problemas más grandes y que están atacando, que es, le gustaría que trabajar con todos los artistas y que todo el mundo pudiera ser usuario de la plataforma, pero actualmente con la tecnología no es posible, pero siguen desarrollando productos para darle soporte a todo esto y poder escalarlo. Otro, pues realmente es el descubrimiento del producto, por dónde se va yendo tanto el coleccionista como también el artista. Y algunas de las nuevas funciones que dice que próximamente podemos ver son un nuevo sistema de subastas. Entonces, otra cosa importante que menciona es cómo interactúas con este arte, que es algo que luego nos preguntan mucho. Uno, obviamente, es tener el arte impreso o en una tablet o en una computadora en tu casa, pero el otro también, como menciona, es apostarle mucho a realidad virtual y realidad aumentada. Por último, pues ya nada más me expiré de John, recordarles que en redes sociales nos encuentran como Talent Republic, a mí como José Pimpo. And now, just to close up, we have one final minute. If there's any message or anything that you would like to say, your social networks, or how do we follow you, or something about SuperRare. And thank you very much for being with us, John.
Jose, yeah, thanks so much. Everybody should come say hi. You can follow us on Twitter at SuperRare _co. You can reach out to me. I'm SuperRare John on Twitter. And yeah, come check out the website and join our Discord and come say hi at superrare.co.
Muchas gracias, John. Muchas gracias a todos los que nos acompañan en Talentland Latinoamérica. Recuerden que esta y todas las conferencias las podrán ver en la sección de On Demand y nuestro canal de YouTube. Thank you very much, John, and thank you very much, SuperRare.
Thank you. Take care.
Gracias.